We have multiple Colorado Avalanche updates, and all of this is big. After an interesting situation in last night's game against the Vancouver Canucks, in which our starting goaltender, Scott Wedgewood, had to leave the game halfway through for reasons we did not know, we have a bunch of different injury updates and a bunch of stuff that we're going to be covering, talking about here on Avalanche Digest, and just diving into all the conversations around what's going on with Scott Wedgewood and what's going on with some of these other players who've been injured for a while, as well as what it means if Scott Wedgewood can't play, even if it's just for a few weeks. Does Trent Miner come up to the Avs again? Does Blackwood get to really settle himself back into a starting caliber goaltender? We're talking all of these things today on Avalanche Digest. Welcome into the channel, everybody. Mark Robinson joined alongside the other host of this channel, Gavin Oceguera. Great to get on here and do a duo. Before we dive into all of this talk, all of this conversation, do want to remind you guys to make sure that you're subscribed to Avalanche Digest. It's the fastest growing source for Colorado Avalanche news and updates and rumors. Anything going on in the world of Colorado Avalanche hockey, we're giving it to you right here. So if you're part of that 76% that's not subscribed to the channel, it's completely free and we'd love to have you. So hit that subscribe button, join the fastest growing source for Colorado Avalanche news and updates. And Gavin, I don't know if you're keeping an eye on this as close as I am, but we're at 1,928 subscribers. We are creeping our way up to 2,000 subscribers. So guys, if you're not subscribed, we're really trying to get to that goal. I mean, Gavin, how much would it mean to you to get to 2,000 subscribers?
Oh, that'd be awesome. I remember just when I started the channel with you, I remember thinking like, if we just get to 1,000, I'm happy. That's all I want.
Yeah.
But 2,000 is awesome, and I can't wait to see it start growing. I am curious though for the viewer. We got to call us something. Like, what are the viewers' names? Is it the digesters? I don't know.
I don't know.
The appetizer.
I agree. We got to think about that. I like that. We got to come
Those
up with a
names are
name.
horrible. They better not be the names I said. Yeah.
Stay tuned. We will be coming up with a name for all of you guys. I just usually say the Avalanche Digest family, but we'll come up with something creative. Yeah, I mean, I said it on the channel the other day that I wanted a Christmas gift from each and every one of our viewers, and all it was just to subscribe, and that I want to get to 2,000 subscribers. So hopefully we can get there. Anyways, let's not waste any more time and dive into all of these conversations, starting with Scott Wedgewood. So last night, the Avs at home faced off against the Vancouver Canucks. It was the second of the 3 games that the two teams will play against each other during the season. In the first game in Vancouver, it was off of a back-to-back. Avs got a gnarly win over the Oilers the night before. They were a little tired, but they got the overtime win with Gavin Brindley scoring his first career overtime goal, as well as the game-winning goal. And then we find ourselves in that second game against Vancouver last night. And the biggest surprise of the team this season, Scott Wedgewood, who's been unreal in between the pipes, a peculiar situation arises about halfway through the game. He had been going to the bench once or twice with potentially something bothering him, some sort of an issue going on. I think I even saw an athletic trainer hand him like some pills at some point, maybe just Advil or painkillers. And then he left the game. He went down the tunnel. Mackenzie Blackwood had to come in for relief, and he did not return. In the midst of all that happening, there was some speculation that maybe an illness going around in the locker room had caught up to him. There's been reports that Nathan MacKinnon, Landeskog, Olofsson, and Parker Kelly were all a little bit under the weather and not feeling well. And so there was a lot of lack of clarity about what was going on and what this whole situation was. But we got all the report that we needed to know during a presser with Jared Bednar this morning. This information courtesy of Guerrilla Sports. But he spoke on Scott Wedgewood this morning. He just tightened up a little bit, his back. So we thought that we'd take him out. Just kind of a better safe than sorry situation. We'll just see how his injury develops over the next couple of days, and we'll take it from there. It's nothing too serious at this point, so it sounds like there's nothing to be worried about. Gavin, I'll kick it over to you. What were your initial reactions seeing Scott Wedgewood leave the game, and now that all this is kind of laid out, what are your thoughts on the situation and what you think we'll see moving forward?
Yeah, I wasn't too worried at the time. Like you said, I did notice him going over to the bench. I saw him chatting to Blackwood too, which was probably him being like, start stretching. Um,
Yeah, get
it's
ready.
I saw some people after the game talking like, oh, maybe he was sick, maybe he had the runs and didn't want to admit it or something. But it was, I don't know. Yeah, like you mentioned, the athletic trainer handed him something. The Avalanche broadcast made it sound like it was like smelling salts or something. Maybe just trying to act. I don't know. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm fine with it being precautionary. It was not an important game. It's a Tuesday night hockey game. You were already winning up by 2 at that point, I believe. So yeah, overall, and the fact that he's still going on the road trip I saw, and he's still um, not designated as a serious injury, I'm not too worried about it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you could look at the silver lining of it, and you could put yourself in the shoes of Jared Bednar and just the Avs in general and what the situation is. Not a lot of other teams can just confidently kick their feet up on the bench. Oh, starting goaltender not feeling it tonight. Let's just put the other starter in. We literally have 2 starting goaltenders on our bench. That's what it's felt like this whole season. And this was kind of the first time that we actually were able to see a prime example of there's a guy in, he started out the game, he was doing solid, but wasn't feeling it, had whatever health related stuff going on. You got to just let the other guy get in there, and that's what Jared Bednar has the ability to do, which is awesome. And so with all that in mind, the Avs did recall Trent Miner ahead of their 4-game road trip coming up this weekend. I know they play the Rangers and the Flyers. I can't think of the other games off the top of my head, but Gavin, the chance to maybe see Trent Miner get his feet wet a little bit more in an Avs sweater versus playing in the AHL. I think the last time we saw him play was, I believe, in New Jersey, in which we lost the game in overtime. But from a goaltending standpoint, he had a pretty solid game after letting a few in early. So, what are your thoughts on letting Trent Miner maybe get back in the crease a little bit and help just keep this team really deep in the goaltending room?
Yeah, I mean, Trent Miner, honestly, he's earned his starts. He's playing well in the AHL. I think, yeah, if you have to put him in, I think, I know the Islanders are in there too in that 4-game stretch. I don't remember the other one, but yeah, if you have to play him against the Flyers, which is that back-to-back game on Sunday, I believe, that's fine. It's a way easier task than playing him against Jersey. So I don't really have an issue with that. I think Miners proved that he should at least get another start. And oh no, like you said, like we have our starting goaltender down. Let's bring in our better, possibly at least numbers wise, starting goaltender. Like, yeah, it's champagne problems.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, something I liked about last night, it was a super small detail at the end of the night, but when all the locker room interviews were kind of getting spread out among social media, Blackwood was one of the ones that got a lot of attention because he had to come in for relief halfway through the game and essentially finish what Scott Wedgewood had started, which was only letting in 1 goal and allowing the Avs to take charge of the game and get a 2-goal lead, which, I mean, no stress at all, but Blackwood's going to be able to come in and do that. But he got asked just about, it's kind of been a continued conversation in the locker room of just how much these guys bounce off of each other. And I loved Mackenzie Blackwood's answer, because he was asked about, what his thoughts were about getting to come in and relieve and getting a time to shine in a moment like that. All he had to say was, really, my number one priority is just making sure my guy's okay. Like, I just want to be there to support him. Like, I think the cohesion of the lumberyard is something that really needs to be talked about as well. Like, the guys love each other, and all they want to do is play for each other and be better for each other. And I think that's why our goalie tandem is so good, because they're not selfishly trying to nab the starting position. Like, they truly do just want the best guy that night to be in between the pipes. And that's what makes it such a dangerous goalie tandem that the Avs have.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take a little moment to hate on our previous goaltending tandem because I just love doing it. Yeah, Georgiev was just emotionally a wreck, and Annunen, by all accounts, seemed a bit of a more of an introverted kid, which it kind of sucks when you're dealing with someone who's as volatile as that. And that led to a completely different locker room situation. I mean, you saw it at the end of the Vancouver game, like Nichushkin bear hugs Blackwood at the end of the game. And you never would see that with any of our previous goaltenders. So no, it's a night and day difference. It turns out you can just switch your goaltending. I don't know if any other NHL teams out there that might be called the Edmonton Oilers don't know that, but you can do it. And when you have some of the best players on the planet, you kind of owe it to them to switch your goaltending.
You probably can't do it as good as Chris MacFarland did. Like, it's being talked about on a national level how impressive it is that he was able to rework our entire goalie tandem. But you're right. It's doable. I mean, look at the bigger picture of that trade. We traded Alexander Georgiev and Nikolai Kovalenko to the Sharks. Alexander Georgiev is now in the Continental Hockey League. I don't even know where Kovalenko is. He's playing nationally as well. He's for sure not in the NHL anymore. And in return, we get Blackwood, and I think the other guy's name was Giovanni Smith, who we then traded to the Flyers to get Eric Johnson back in an Avs sweater for the last few months of his career. So much benefit. And then, yeah, Justus Annunen in exchange for Scott Wedgewood. We get a veteran glue guy, backup goaltender in exchange for, I actually didn't have a problem with Onanen. He's a great kid. He's a great goalie. He's got a lot of potential. We got a lot better in return. So I agree. It's great how we were able to rework our goalie tandem. With that in mind, let's keep injuries on the forefront of this conversation, but we're going to widen the conversation a little bit. This report coming from Evan Rawl via Altitude Sports Radio this morning was the coach's show on Moser, Lombardi, and Kane in the morning, where Jared Bednar joins the show once a week. Jared Bednar said that Gavin Brindley, the rookie who was acquired in the trade over the summer in exchange for Miles Wood and Charlie Coyle, he's ahead of schedule. And he's going to be going on the road trip because he's pretty close, according to Coach Jared Bednar, which means he could maybe play towards the end of it. And then there's no clear update on Logan O'Connor. I would guess Logan O'Connor's getting close as well. I remember a lot of reports way back in the day saying that he was going to be ready end of November, early December. It's early December, so I'm guessing a few weeks until LOC is going to be back and ready to go. And then we've talked about Wedgewood. We know the situation there, but any reactions to Gavin Brindley and LOC and what that is going to look like over the next few weeks here?
Yeah, it just makes your lineup even better. You've got your top six cruising, your defense is chipping in. Gavin Brindley was playing really well before he got injured, and seemingly you had great news that he's coming back. You love to hear that. Best first name in the NHL. That's a fact too, as well. I saw it the other day. Logan O'Connor is an interesting one. I did hear like unconfirmed, like just from other media pundits talking about it, that other things have cropped up with Logan O'Connor. His like not related to his hip, like his hip is fine, but it seems to just be other stuff that is but nagging him right now. So that could be the only reason he's not playing. But yeah, I mean, you have your guys all coming back. You might actually just get healthy in the middle of the season, which is unheard of. So knock on some wood. And yeah, you have Val Nichushkin came back last game too. I mean, you're getting fortunate. And there are some other teams out there that are not fortunate with their injuries. So I mean, take the gifts where you get them.
I think the biggest thing with just this whole conversation is you look at the season we're having and you look at the guys that have come in and out of the lineup. You've had Yoel Kiviranta be injured for a while. You've had Sam Girard dealing with an injury as well. And then obviously you've got Gavin Brindley, who had a really hot start to the year, and then he's now dealing with an injury. We haven't even had LOC in the lineup. We were without Nichushkin for a few weeks, and it doesn't matter. All these guys are cycling in and out of the lineup. Bednar's having to bump around guys like Zakhar Bardakov and, put Ross Colton on the second line, and even Gavin Brindley on the second line at one point. He's having to play like almost like a puzzle, if you will, with these line pieces when guys are injured. And it doesn't matter. Everybody still knows how to play in that respective position, and the team is so deep. So it's a breath of fresh air because injuries have been such an issue for the Avs in the past, and it's truly hurt the team. So the fact that we can now have some breathing room with injuries on the depth chart a little bit, it's big. It's massive. The team is good no matter what. And you can only imagine how good we're going to be once we have Logan O'Connor back, once we have Gavin Brindley back. It's exciting to think about.
Oh yeah. I mean, Gavin Brindley's quietly became one of my favorite players. I think he's a great energy bug that you just throw on any line, and you don't have to sacrifice anything else on either of your lines. Like Landeskog, oh man, he's hard to play against. He makes a line so tough. Same with Colton. You don't have to move him off of lines now. You have to move him up. You can just move Brindley, and he can just fluctuate anywhere. And him on a really cheap contract is amazing. Ross Colton, that's really starting to show its colors here when we got him a couple seasons ago. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, as much as Chris MacFarland gets a lot of hate, especially for me, I think that Chris MacFarland deserves like all the credit in the world for how the Avalanche are playing right now. There's no question around it.
100%. A lot of exciting stuff to think about. Last thing I want to touch on before we close things out, a lot of Scott Wedgewood talk, about his status and his injury, what that all looks like. But outside of that, keeping the topic on Scott Wedgewood and how good he's been playing, this is a huge story in the NHL right now. Is Scott Wedgewood playing himself into contention to be on Team Canada's roster and be in that third goalie spot? It's unreal how well he's playing. And I think there's a valid chance that we see him in a Team Canada sweater behind Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar. What do you think about the idea of Scott Wedgewood representing Canada in the Olympics in the early days of winter.
I mean, hey, they might just start bringing all the abs they can. I mean, Brock Nelson might play for Team USA. They might just bring Blackwood now that the Wedgwood injury is there, and Blackwood has his chance to kind of play a lot more games here. We might just get all of our roster out on the Olympics in Milan. Actually, maybe not in Milan because of what's going on with the Olympics right now. But that's a topic for another day. I mean, Scott Wedgwood is playing amazing, and when your backup goaltender is actively been having an invite to the Olympics, that's fantastic.
It's unreal. I saw something the other day that said the Avs have, or excuse me, let me start that over. I saw something the other day that was like Team Canada has the best forward from the Avs, the best defenseman from the Avs, and the best goaltender from the Avs. Maybe. We don't know about that last one quite yet, but how unfair is that? That the best forward, the best goaltender, and the best defensemen on hockey's country are all on the same team. It just shows how deep this team is, how much they're capable of, and what the legitimate chances are of seeing the Avs make it all the way to playing some hockey in June. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, I'm loving it. It's a great season. Savor it. I mean, this is a gift that you get maybe once in every 10 years.
100%. All right, that's going to do it for us here on Avalanche Digest. Thank you so much for joining and tuning into our videos. We appreciate your guys' support more than you know. If you're not subscribed, it takes 5 seconds. Go hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. We talked about it in the beginning of the video. We're so close to 2,000 subscribers. We started this channel at ground zero. I mean, we got hired by this company, and Avs Digest didn't exist when we started making videos for them. And it's crazy to see how much we've grown, and we want to keep that growth going more and more in a forward direction. There's no ceiling for how big we want to get. So thank you for tuning in. We'll keep you updated with all things Avalanche hockey as usual. But in the meantime, cheers everybody and go Avs.